Welcome everybody. Today's special episode comes to you from Sista Fitness in Midland and Morley. Sista Fitness is a female-only health and fitness club offering a range of facilities and services tailored at all fitness levels. The team work closely with their members as they transition through the different phases of life's journey. At Sista Fitness, you'll find a great range of fitness and personal services, including a 24/7 gym access, an extensive weights and cardio offering, group fitness classes, wellness classes, including Reformer Pilates, which we love, don't we? One-on-one personal training, a creche, oh my gosh, they've got everything here, access to allied health professionals, a jam-packed events calendar, and most importantly, an energetic, supportive and empowering community of women that forms their sisterhood.
That sounds amazing, doesn't it, Trace?
It does,
right?
Yes.
And welcome everyone to our beautiful episode. And joining us today on the Mind Body Studio is Sista Fitness Founder Maggie Carroll. Maggie is the heart and soul of Sista Fitness. She is encouraging, inspiring and always available to provide members with the care and support they need, both inside and outside their clubs. Maggie has been involved in all areas of organisation, personal training, some of her clients, even looking after the children at the creche.
Oh, that's
amazing.
That's right.
And sometimes she's even mistaken for being the cleaner. It sounds like the typical business owner, right? We just do everything. Maggie's main focus is on group fitness classes, where she oversees and manages the weekly timetable, and she juggles over 130 classes per week. That sounds insane. She also instructs multiple classes a week, including RPM, MetaFit, and Body Pump. When Maggie is not at Sista Fitness, she is preparing to run another marathon and coaching one of our Sista Fitness netball teams. You sound absolutely amazing, Maggie. She is also a fit wife life, mum life, home life and social life.
Awesome. So join us for this very special, amazing chat with Maggie today about embracing the feminine, the importance for our overall mindset and well-being. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Tracey Soltis.
And I'm Kali Alfaro. And you're listening to the Mind Body Studio, a place for anyone who wants to reach their full potential, thrive and create a life filled with vitality.
Each week, we'll bring you our expertise, giggles, and a splash of cracky to explore real and relevant topics to help you along your life's journey.
We'll bring you science, psychology, and practicality to real life issues.
So, thanks for listening. We know you're going to love it. All right. So welcome, everyone. We've got a very special guest here, Maggie Carroll. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Awesome.
Welcome, Maggie.
And today we're going to be talking about embracing the feminine, but also female empowerment, which I think that's a big thing that's going on right here. We've got a female-only gym. We've walked through. We love it, right?
Oh, it is amazing. I would hang out in this place.
Like even right down to the female rooms. Did you see the hair dryers and the fancy mirrors and everything?
The hair
like,
straightener.
I literally just want to come here and enjoy it right now. It's awesome. So Maggie, tell us a little bit about yourself and the women that you get coming through your centre.
Yeah, sure. So as you mentioned in the intro, I'm a mum first, I suppose, but also the owner of Sista Fitness. So I've got 3 children, well 4 really because I have a dog.
Oh, yay. What sort of dog do you have?
Well, he's a rescue.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
He's a German Shepherd cross Staffy.
Oh,
So
cute.
quite a big dog, but I love him to bits. My husband would say he's the first child and priority in the house. So
He's the one that welcomes you first thing in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what happens in my house too. My dog, Molly, who's a chocolate lab, she literally is the first one to greet me. No one else cares.
Yeah.
She's like the first one that comes down. Is like, love me.
Yeah.
Good morning. I love you so much. Sorry,
Yeah, I
sorry,
totally
Maggie.
get it. So yeah, that's kind of my home life, I guess. I've prior to starting Sista Fitness, I had a corporate background in human resources and finance in the public sector, and had a little stint in the private sector as well. But I guess whilst doing all of that, I've played netball since I was 6 years old. I've always had a passion for health and fitness. So I guess that's kind of what has drove me to start our own business with a female gym. Female gym, I guess, came from my own personal experiences of going into gyms as a young woman and experiencing a male-female gym and then going into a women's gym. And that is what I just found that I really found great engagement when I went into that gym. I made friendships. I just found it a lot easier and I was more comfortable in that environment. But I guess my background in the corporate sector has, enabled me to come into a business, but primarily it's my passion for health and fitness that really helps to drive this business so successfully.
Awesome. And we know you're super busy because you literally had a class just before we got here as well. So you've already had an exercise class. Yeah. You're coming in to do, you're like super person coming in on our podcast and then you're about to run out again and do another class.
I am, but I guess to me that sounds crazy to some people, but that's what I love. I absolutely love being able to go in and participate in classes with our members and chat to them, and it's more than just doing the class. I get so much more out of it, which is really what I think Sista Fitness is all about. It's those relationships and the people here and that feeling you get when you come into Sista Fitness. I absolutely love it.
And tell us a little bit about the women in here, because when we're looking at the types of people that are actually coming to the gym and engaging with you, do you see a lot of burnout? Because that's something that we see quite a lot in our clinics.
Oh, absolutely. We see a lot of women coming in and, they've obviously gone to a place where they've gone, oh my gosh, I need to put myself first. And we really try to tap into that with them so that they feel that they've found a place that they can come and be themselves, and no matter what level of fitness that they're at or age in their life or time of their life that they're at, that we are able to provide them with an experience not only through our amazing facilities, but really our staff, all our female staff are really experienced in dealing with women's issues, so they've got people to talk to, they make friends, so it really becomes a community that is our sisterhood, which is kind of really where our sister comes from.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think that's where when you do something that you love, you're able to connect to those people that walk in through the door from an open space, right? Yeah. From this real sort of heart-centered space where this is your baby, right? This is like your fifth child, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Hopefully the most profitable one.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that is so important when you get to a space where you're doing something you absolutely love. You can approach whatever you're doing from a heart space. It's not just a business. Yeah. And I think that's probably what we're feeling in this space, where you can really feel that there's like little touches that you guys have thought about. The bathrooms are really beautiful and clean and really equipped for women's needs, and the way you're being greeted and the security, all of these aspects that are so important for a female gym.
Yeah, well, you really touched on that feel. And a lot of people will say, well, what makes your gym so different to other gyms? And it's really hard to say, all gyms have got you can have great facilities, but it really is that feel. And we've had, members even give us feedback that it's not until you come here and you feel it. It's hard to explain what it actually is, but it's a feeling. Yeah, it really is.
Absolutely.
And that's not something you can just buy, I suppose.
Exactly. And that's like, I really want to touch on that, because like we're talking about femininity, right? And sort of like the psychology behind femininity. And that is something that I think women are absolutely exceptional at, making a room feel a particular way. And this is where we touch on intuition, and we touch on our ability to feel energy, connect to other people, and you kind of have that bigger picture, right? It's not just a place that has awesome equipment. It's the experience, right? Yeah. And this is where I think in today's world, where everyone is so busy and doing so much, people are lacking just that experience.
Yeah.
what is the experience of going into a particular space?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, even though we have a lot of different things that members can do, I think we cater for someone that, you know, likes to just come in and have a quiet time and do their own thing and, you know, make them feel good about themselves in a safe, supportive environment. And then you've also got those people like myself who love to be with other people and create that energy and be part of something. You know, and as an owner, one of my favourite things is, other than teaching the classes and being there, is when I come in and that buzz in the room and I see, you know, people I know who didn't know each other before they came into this to join our club, who've made friendships here. And, you know, they're making dates like, I'll see you tomorrow and then we'll go for coffee afterwards, you know. So it's not just in the gym, you know, we're going outside of here and we're impacting they're here, but they're outside when they're, you know, so it's more.
Absolutely.
Not just in here as well. But, yeah.
Tracey and I met at Pilates class.
We did,
right?
Yeah, like about 3 years, 3, 4. Was it longer? Oh my gosh, how old am I?
Like 5. Yeah, we met at a Pilates class, and our cheeky natures kind of looked across the room, and we're just laughing and being silly and getting in trouble. And look at us now, right? We're working together.
We went for coffee, and then coffee turned into, hey, let's go hang out on the weekend.
Absolutely.
Turned into, let's go down south and have like a camping trip.
Absolutely. I see people at weddings.
Absolutely.
Children. Like they're going to park dates with the kids from creche.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
This is what happens when you create spaces with intention. So what I'm noticing in this space is almost like you had a dream, right? You talked a little bit about the experience that you had in mixed gender gyms and then female gyms, and I'd like you to elaborate on that a little bit. But you have an idea of what you want to create, and when you connect to that image and when you feel into it, and now you've birthed this idea, people walking in and it's blossoming, right? Because you've really put all of that effort, and that's part of this beautiful feminine quality and characteristic where you put in the effort of, how do I want people to actually feel when they walk in through the door? So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about some of the experiences that you had in mixed gender gyms as a young girl growing up, and what, you know, and how that led to this.
I was really intimidated when I first walked into a gym. You know, given, you know, I guess you're intimidated because you're young and you're a female, and I don't know what to do. Like, I'm walking into a gym, and yes, I've been in, you know, I'd even been in netball and been around fitness, obviously, but this was my first time looking at equipment and going, oh my goodness, where do I even start? And it just feels like all eyes are on you. And especially, you know, men in there with their weights and they all stare at, they are staring at you, and you can see them. If they're not staring at you, they're staring at someone else. And it's just uncomfortable. You don't feel safe. You know, even walking out, and not everybody's like that. I'm not trying to say that all men are deviates, and but it's just that just the layout. It's not set up. It's not feminine. It doesn't. They don't create a space that I feel like I want to be in and feel safe in. I suppose that's probably the main thing. And yeah, I just didn't get. It's going back to that feeling, I suppose, and the safety of it, which I'm. Yeah,
because on the outside, like when we're working our day-to-day jobs, and I know this is your day-to-day job, but for other people who come into a gym, I mean, you spend a lot of time in the masculine world. A lot of the time, you know, we're busy, we're focused, we're strong, we're articulate, and so it's good to have a space where you do feel safe when you're kind of letting down your guard, where there's no judgment, because I think that's a big part of it, is that people feel judged. You know, they're very conscious of their body shapes and their size and the way that they might do things, the way they might move. You know, a lot of people are very paranoid about the way they dance or where the body flows and things like that. So when you come to a gym, you kind of want to have that space where there is no judgment, there is no kind of expectation. It just is removed from that external masculine type world that we have to step into, and we can kind of let those guards down. Would you think that that's...
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly.
Yeah. And one of the things that I really want our listeners to think about is, or to be educated on, because I don't think it gets spoken enough about the sense of so many women out there feeling unsafe, right? So, and look, this is not a dig at men. We absolutely love masculinity.
Yes,
we love men. And, you know, there are mostly really good people out there, but the experience of feeling unsafe for women is incredibly common, way too common, right? I see it in my practice as a psychologist, you know, thinking about, is there enough lighting when I walk from my car to the premise? Who am I with? Who's going to greet me there? Who has access? Like a lot of women in DV situations, or, you know, who has access to the gym. All of this kind of stuff is so incredibly important. And when you are feeling unsafe all of the time, you're not allowed to go into that feminine energy because it is vulnerable, right?
That's the essence of femininity, is that giving up, that vulnerability, and that letting go and being in flow. And you're right, that is a struggle for people.
It really is. So I want listeners to maybe think about, how can I go out of my way today to make people feel safe, right? And sometimes it might be being friendly as a man without being sleazy, or, you know, being courteous, or, you know, all of these things. And as women, it's important to look after your fitness, obviously, for mental health reasons, for physical reasons, and it allows you to feel strong. So the stronger you feel, the safer you feel, right? So it's so important to begin to create these spaces like what you are creating for women to begin to have a greater sense of confidence, because then they also, you know, we emit vibe. If we feel more confident, we don't seem as vulnerable as well. So then it's, you know, it's a bit of like a dynamic that is being created. The way we feel, that vibe that, you know, you give off, and then how other people respond to that.
Yeah, because we definitely, you know, have people come and join our club all the time who are coming from those male-female clubs because they have not felt safe. People literally starting to stalk them.
Wow.
You know, approaching them and asking them for their number. Being there when they happen to be there all the time. Like, you know, it is a real thing. So I guess at Sista Fitness, you know, we've created that space by, you know, having security cameras outside in, you know, our car parks, the lighting that you talked about. We've got safety buttons for them to wear when they come in by themselves, when we're 24/7 access.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I love that.
And not only that sort of security safety, but also safety so that they do feel confident when they come into the gym, because there is so much equipment there. It's a compulsory induction, so they can feel confident that they can use the equipment. They also know that during staffed hours there's always someone here that they can go and see and ask how to use it if they're not sure, to make sure they're doing things safe. And we have the gym floor staff walking around, you know, looking for those things specifically to make sure people are doing things safely. But also the hygiene, obviously, that's a massive thing for us right now. That's another safety thing. So making sure that everybody's following the rules. You know, we've always had a very clean gym, but, you know, now it is, you know, much more prevalent, obviously. So we've escalated our cleaning across the gym. But also for those women who aren't so comfortable with men around at all, making sure that we give them notice if there are men coming on site to do any works and etc. Because obviously we have culturally sensitive people as well, so making sure we consider them with everything we do. Our members are at the heart of all of the things that we do.
It sounds like there's been a lot of thought and energy and like put into it. So I kind of want to direct and move the conversation just a little bit, and let's talk about why we need to work out and the science behind fitness, because it's not just about coming to the gym and doing a few chin-ups and push-ups and stuff. There's a reason why we need to come and work out. So we know as women that we lose a lot of muscle and bone density as we get older, and so we need to prevent a lot of these things from happening. We want to prevent osteoporosis. We want to have strong, good, healthy bodies so that we can prevent falls later down the track. And so there's a lot of things like that need to be considered as well. It's not just about coming to the gym and being social, but we want to build strong, healthy bodies. We know obviously from a mental health capacity as well, we're releasing a lot of endorphins and a lot of feel-good hormones when we exercise. And we know that kicks in around the 20-minute, 25-minute mark. So we want to be doing it for a good duration as well. It's, you know, something that we need to keep up and make sure that we're maintaining. And so let's have a little chat about the actual science behind fitness and why it's so important. So Maggie, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my personal experience probably comes from a mental health position. You know, that time for myself and allowing, it's just that those endorphins that you feel afterwards. I mean, to be honest, like I'm in the gym a lot and I do a lot of classes and I absolutely love it and that's my passion.
Would you say it's addictive? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Exercise is addictive, right? Because I feel like when we do Pilates, for example, because Pilates is one of those amazing routines that you can do, and it's resistance training, strength training, you can get some cardio in there.
When we're in it, it's giggle
when
training.
We're not giggling so much. But I feel like it's such an amazing form of exercise to do because it gives you kind of everything.
And it can be gentle but strong.
And it's addictive.
Yeah,
Don't you
really
reckon
is.
it's addictive?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that I run marathons. I shouldn't say it. I'm doing my 4th one this weekend at Ross.
Wow, you legend.
So I am meant to be tapering, so don't tell anyone that I'm taking classes today. But yeah, it's actually, people say, why do you do that? And it's actually the mental game at the end and the feeling I get having accomplished that. So I don't think there's a lot of people that go, yeah, I'm going to go to the gym and smash myself today. Well, there's probably some people like that and, you know, that's great. But I'm always about focus on how you feel after you do that. And everyone goes, yeah. And I'm like, at the end of every class I say, all right, so you all came in here and you were pretty, you know, Debbie Downers when you first got in here. But how do you feel now? Aren't you so glad you're not that person that pressed the snooze button? They're like, yeah, I feel so good. And, you know, we're ready to start the day or, you know, go home to our families and be better people. So for me, it is a real mental thing. Yes, there's lots of great other health, physical benefits, but mental health is massive.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
And we talk so much about movement in our episodes and on this podcast because it's totally so crucial.
Absolutely. And it's totally about how you feel at the end of it. Yeah. Right? Like our listeners know that I jump in the ocean at sunrise every day, even in winter, and I scream because it's so cold.
Yeah, I stopped that a couple of weeks ago because I was like, nah, I can't do it. So during the warmer months.
The feeling that you get afterwards. And this is like, we were talking about this the other day. The feeling, you feel strong, right? When you're swimming in big waves and it's freezing and there are rocks and there's reef and you can't just kind of be half-heartedly doing something. Similar to when you're lifting weights, you need to be aware of what you're doing, otherwise you're going to injure yourself. And the feeling that you get as feeling strong and accomplished, I don't think we have enough of that as women. Because there is this like sweet balance between being feminine, which are beautiful qualities, but sometimes get associated with softer, weaker qualities, right? But also there is this beautiful ability to be strong and feminine, right? So as a businesswoman, how do you kind of marry the two of being like that strong entrepreneurial businesswoman, but keeping that sense of femininity?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a great question.
I don't know. I guess being surrounded by so many women makes it much easier for me to see that because I see people living it every day, really, I guess. I love, that this space is for women and I've created that. So that kind of helps with that. But it's really hard to describe. Other than that feeling for me, it's more, that I'm able to give that same experience to other people and see them experience, the same sort of vibes.
How do you do it? What's your feminine outlet?
So in business or in life?
Just in life.
In life? Well, you know that I meditate a lot and I create a lot of mandalas with flowers and things that I find in nature. And I think the ocean for me is like a real feminine power as well, sort of like mermaid kind of ocean goddess type power where you can, I think, I'm going to touch on something that is really pertinent to this topic. The ability to be in your physical feminine body. When we're at the beach, we're exposed, right? You're exposing your body more than when you are fully clothed. So having the experience of doing that in a way that is non-sexual, in a way that allows you to feel fit and strong, but also owning your femininity is I've noticed like a whole journey for myself, right? And I swim with women that are 86 years old, right, who obviously have completely different body types, and a whole bunch of women that are in their 80s. And so then you start to have this idea of aging looks different to me, and I have a different goal, and my goal is to be snorkeling when I'm 86 years old.
I know,
right?
those people down there are amazing.
And B, I have a different idea of what it's like to be a strong woman, right? I see some of these women like swimming out way past the break of the waves into the reef.
Yeah.
And I don't have the courage to do that just yet, but I have that goal, and I you know, I share every morning with these women. So I feel really inspired, and I find that for me, the beach has been that sort of, that sense of I'm connecting to nature, which I feel is a real feminine power. B, I'm doing something that is very much in my body, right? And C, I'm surrounded by really strong, inspiring women. So when I feel so connected and I allow and I'm playful, you know me, I'm like splashing around, I'm laughing, I'm giggling in the waves, and, you know, sometimes you fall over or whatever because you get, you know, knocked over by a wave. You just laugh it off, right?
Yeah.
And you know, run up in the freezing, icy, cold wind to the change rooms, and everyone's absolutely laughing and giggling because you have like this rush of endorphins.
Yeah.
And then I'm able to go and be present for my patients when I'm running my clinic. So there's a bit of a masculine side where I've got to do all of these things, right? You've got to do all of the logistical things that go around running a business, and then that gentle, soft, nourishing and connected energy of being present as a therapist for my patients. So I find that when you start the day with a sense of strong energy with physical activity or in nature, there's that strong feminine side. And then you get to kind of like slowly kind of float into a softer feminine side where you kind of hold space and you guide and you're intuitive and you help heal.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of see the days unfolding.
It's a really great explanation. Yeah. You know me, I'm just really quite basic.
Well, no, I think that's for you, but I think
Yeah.
a lot of the women that come here, they might not have the opportunity to go to the beach.
Totally.
Every morning. So that's why they
Yes.
come here. They come and dance like nobody's watching, or, you know, they come in here and they lift really heavy weights because that makes them feel empowered and strong.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that. And, you know.
See.
It's all right. Kali's just destroying
I
the
think
place,
it's
but
just
okay.
it's great that you've got
Yeah.
that for you, and it's great that, you know, Sista Fitness has created those opportunities for in lots of different spaces in our club to have that same experience. So.
Yeah, awesome.
I
think
love that.
I love the sun. You know me, like I'm all about the sun and what the sun provides for us. And so I'll dance in the sun and talk to my plants. That's what I do is every morning is I wait for that sunrise and I'm outside and I'm talking to my plants and talking to my dog and walking around barefoot on my grass in my backyard, and that's my thing. That's and then when it gets warmer I'll be back in the ocean, but not yet.
And I think that's the beauty of being able to connect to your body, right? At the end of the day, that's what it's about. Yeah. How can we connect to our bodies in a way that is healthy, especially for women, right? In a way that is healthy and in a way that you are constantly sort of assessing, checking in, improving, healing, progressing.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, and making you feel good.
Exactly.
Because those things make you feel good. Taking the time to go to the ocean, afterwards you feel good. You feel good after walking out on the grass. The women here will feel good after they've done their workout. I think our body is very good at responding to things that we do good, and maybe not just in a physical way, but, you know, if you do a good deed, you feel good.
Absolutely.
Oh, I
so
know.
anything you do that's good is good.
Smile. That's the thing. Smile at people. I mean, I think that's the number one thing that we also recommend for our listeners is be consciously aware of how you interact with men and women throughout the day, and be open, create an open space and smile at people. You know, you don't know what the other person is going through in their space as well.
And that's a real link back to what we, you know, the Sista Fitness space provides. I was in a class the other day and I noticed I had quite a few new people in the class. And between the tracks I said, guys, there's a few new people here. Do you know the person who's standing next to you? Why don't you just say hi and introduce yourself? Yeah. And I couldn't shut them up.
I love that.
I love that too.
Because it was just like they just all started talking about, okay, we've got to go back to the workout now. But now, you know, you can look at that person when you come into the club and say, I know someone now. So you know, you don't feel so isolated. But yeah, again, that's those relationships.
That connection, right? And I think the more, you know, and there's a whole bunch of, you know, psychological and scientific research out there that the more connected we are, the greater our sense of belonging and the greater the sense of safety, right? So that's a really important thing. I often ask people that I don't know, if I see them in the ocean, I'll be like, oh, what's your name? And then I make a point. I'm terrible with names, so I put it in my phone. It might be like, you know, Rosie from the beach. And then I make a point to say hello and say their name, right? So that we have that sense of familiarity, because the brain loves familiarity, right? So then when you come to a class and you know the teacher and the teacher has made you feel welcome, that's a sense of safety, right?
And missed as well. Like,
exactly. Exactly.
Oh, if I don't go, like we keep helping with that accountability side as well.
And I think that was difficult over COVID, wasn't it? Like we really struggled with that. I know that for myself, like with our Pilates, we really missed out on those social meetups. That was the thing for me that I missed the most, was not the actual physical, like doing the exercise and everything, but it was catching up with all the people in the class.
Well, that's what I was worried about in the sense of coming back. Well, people go home, they're all like, oh, I'll be fine. I'll just go home and do workouts at home. Well, you know, I think everyone was okay for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. It was the novelty.
But then, and then they realise that they slowly drop off because they don't have that connection to go back to. And the exercise the connection plays a big part in getting you to that place. So, you know, it couldn't have been better after COVID, really. And I think a lot of gyms would say the same thing, that people came back because they missed it.
Absolutely.
And they knew that you couldn't do it themselves. They liked the energy and the people and what that provides for them. So, yeah.
And I think that's one of the sort of the unseen values, the energy, right? The energy that you feel when you walk into a space, the energy that you create when you're with other people. And that's irreplaceable. Like in a world where there is so much technological stuff and we are engaging with others through like this, you know, interface that is like a screen, I think I really advocate for having experiential life. Like what do you want to experience? Who do you want to be around? Because it's an energy. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Awesome. Well, we've almost reached the end of our time for today. So is there anything that anyone wanted to add before we wrap it up?
I'm just really incredibly grateful for your time, Maggie. I know that you are a super amazing superwoman, very busy mum, business owner, marathon runner, all things life. So really, really incredibly grateful for your time and your wisdom and for creating this amazing space. Like I'm really blown away.
Oh.
I want to hang out here.
Yeah, that's really great. And thank you to you guys as well, because it's not often that you get time to actually stop and reflect on what you've actually done and created. So I'm really grateful for that as well.
It's a massive achievement. It's a massive achievement, right? Everything that you've created is amazing. You've really created such a safe space for women, and it's awesome. I hope that there's more of these around Perth soon, especially closer to my house, because I think I would go. I would
was thinking
totally
the same
go.
thing when I was walking around there. I was like, I kind of want to hang out. I kind of want to do a workout now.
Yeah, I know, right? We didn't
Funny,
even
a lot
bring
of
up.
members who've moved away to areas that are too far to come are like, when are you going to build down here? I miss
Yeah.
it so much.
Yeah.
It's not the same. So
Yeah.
we'd love to be able to expand. So
Wonderful.
Awesome.
that's the goal.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We will catch you again next week.
Thanks so much.
See you later.
The information, views and opinions expressed on this podcast should not be used or treated as a substitute for nutritional, medical, psychological or other advice by a qualified health professional. Hosts and guests on the podcast express their own opinions, experiences and conclusions. Nothing in the podcast should be used to diagnose, treat, cure or prevent any medical condition. The podcast is not intended to replace any medical or mental health treatment. All information and advice provided is for general well-being and does not take individual cases into consideration. Neither Tracey Saltis, Kali Alfaro or any sponsor endorse the opinions, views or conclusions expressed or shared on the podcast. Tracey Saltis and Kali Alfaro take no responsibility for any symptoms or consequences as a direct or indirect result of the podcast.